I, John Mbadi being appointed a Cabinet Secretary of Kenya,
Kenya's political scene is heating up. Members of Parliament are pointing fingers at the heart of the nation's finances, accusing Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi and his principal Chris Kiptoo of disrespecting the very institution that holds them accountable. They charge contempt of Parliament. The consequence? A looming impeachment battle that could shake the government to its core. Buckle up, because this is a story packed with drama, power struggles, and high stakes for Kenya's future.
I want to tell John Mbadi that this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable, totally unacceptable, when he has to show respect for this house. And in fact, it is worse that he was a member of Parliament. If he had just been plucked from the wilderness like some of the other people I see, maybe we would excuse him. But he is a member of Parliament. He has even finished 2 weeks. Honorable Chair, this is unacceptable. Respect for this house.
It all started with a missed meeting, a big one. The National Assembly's Public Investments Committee on Commercial Affairs and Energy had summoned top officials, including Mbadi and Kiptoo, to address a massive 30 billion Kenyan shilling debt owed to Kenya Power for the Rural Electrification Scheme. This program, meant to bring electricity to Kenya's rural communities, is in crisis with stalled projects and frustrated citizens. But when the Treasury chiefs failed to show up, members of Parliament were livid, accusing them of ignoring parliamentary authority. Committee Chairperson David Kosing didn't hold back, warning what this snub could lead to serious consequences, impeachment included. The members of Parliament say this isn't the first time. Mbadi and Kiptoo have allegedly dodged multiple summons, leaving critical questions about the Treasury's priorities unanswered for a nation grappling with economic challenges. This standoff is more than just a political spat. It's about accountability and delivering services to millions of Kenyans.
Bad records with Senate. It's very bad records of not coming to Parliament. So, but this is our first time, and we'll leave it at that. We leave Mbadi to sort out these issues with Senate. But for us, he's an expert, so we'll wait for him.
So, who are the men at the center of this storm? John Mbadi is no stranger to Kenya's political arena, a seasoned politician and certified public accountant. Mbadi has served as a member of Parliament for Suba South and held roles like Assistant Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister. Appointed as Treasury Cabinet Secretary in August 2024, he has been tasked with steering Kenya through tough economic waters. But his past as a vocal lawmaker makes these accusations of contempt particularly surprising.
You know, when you start misreporting things and giving statements that are not factual, and you have been chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, then you leave Kenyans asking questions whether you have what it takes to offer leadership.
Chris Kiptoo, the principal secretary, is a technocrat with a track record in economic policy. Appointed by President William Ruto in 2022, Kiptoo has been key in managing Kenya's debt and fiscal reforms. But this absence from parliamentary meetings has drawn fire, with members of Parliament calling his responses to their queries, quote-unquote, condescending. Together, Mbadi and Kiptoo are now in the hot seat, facing the wrath of a Parliament that feels disrespected.
You cannot fund Kenya Power to the tune of 30 billion that is bending as a debt because it is not commercially viable. I think that's a bit condescending on the part of the peers, and I take it with a bit of salt. I think whoever was sent with this document, kindly assume we have not read it.
Let us break down what this 30 billion Kenyan shilling debt matters. The Rural Electrification Scheme is a lifeline for millions of Kenyans, bringing power to the remote areas to boost education, healthcare and small businesses. But Kenya Power, which runs the program on behalf of the government, says it is owed 30 billion Kenyan shilling by the Treasury and the Ministry of Energy. This debt has stalled 56 mini-grid projects, leaving communities in the dark. Members of Parliament are furious, arguing that the Treasury's failure to release funds is holding back progress.
My village in Kamagipuru is supposed to have electricity, but unfortunately, because Treasury has not released this money. And this money has continued to accumulate for a number of years, and it has now reached 30 billion. And the CS is telling us in the statement that is going to consider, the PS is going to consider this in the fiscal framework. Which fiscal framework?
Nothing.
Is this fiscal framework? Is it next year fiscal framework? Which fiscal framework?
Committee member David Kiplagat put it bluntly. He said, quote, "The Treasury holds the resources, but they are not taking Parliament seriously," end of quote. The committee demanded answers from Mbadi, Kiptoo and other officials like Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi, but when the Treasury sent a representative instead of the top brass, members of Parliament called it an insult, escalating tensions to a boiling point.
You are aware that we have also done some mini-grids in Homa Bay County, in the islands of Ngothe and Takawiri. Very, very unique projects. And we are focused on ensuring that these projects are completed within the shortest time possible to address the issue of power shortages in this region. The only solution to the incessant power shortages, power outages in this region is the completion of those transmission lines, the high voltage transmission lines, which we have secured financing for from our development partners. So all that, when we complete them, I'm sure we shall have addressed the issue of availability of power and essentially also cost.
The Public Investments Committee isn't playing around. Chairperson David Kosing announced plans to collect signatures for an impeachment motion accusing Mbadi and Kiptoo of undermining parliamentary authority. This isn't just talk. Parliament has summoned Kiptoo to appear on August 20th with a clear warning: show up or face the consequences. The committee's frustration reflects a broader concern. If the Treasury can ignore the Parliament, what does that mean for accountability in Kenya's government? But impeachment isn't easy. It requires significant parliamentary support and could spark a political firestorm, especially with Mbadi's ties to the opposition's Orange Democratic Movement and Kiptoo's appointment by President William Ruto. This clash could test the balance of power in Kenya's government. So, what does this mean for Kenya? The standoff between Parliament and the Treasury comes at a critical time, with a growing national debt, rising cost of living, and demands for better services. The pressure is on for leaders to deliver. If Mbadi and Kiptoo can't resolve this crisis, public trust in the government could take a hit. On the flip side, Parliament's push for accountability could set a precedent for holding powerful officials in check.
The PS National Treasury has authorized our good brother here to represent him.
Kenya's treasury is under siege, and the nation is watching. Will John Mbadi and Chris Kiptoo weather this storm, or will Parliament impeachment threat change the game? Stay tuned for updates and let us know your thoughts in the comment section. For Maisha TV, I'm William Juma.